Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a woman and thought, why did I say that? Or worse, you said nothing at all. Your mind froze, your confidence disappeared, and someone else stepped in and had the conversation you wished you had. Most men think the secret to talking to women is having the perfect line, the perfect joke, or the perfect level of confidence. But the truth is, something most men were never supposed to hear. Women are not impressed by the man who talks the most. They are drawn to the man who understands how conversations actually work. And once you understand this, everything changes. Because the art of conversation is not about impressing a woman. It's about making her feel something. Most men make the same mistake. They try to prove themselves. They talk about their job, their money, their achievements, their car, their plans. And while they are talking, something strange happens. The woman slowly disconnects, not because she dislikes the man, but because she feels like she is listening to a presentation, not sharing a moment. Real connection doesn't happen when a man performs. It happens when he becomes present. The truth is, women remember how a conversation felt, not what was said. Think about the last time you met someone unforgettable. You probably don't remember every sentence they said, but you remember the energy. You remember feeling relaxed. You remember feeling curious. You remember feeling seen. That's the real secret most men never learn. Conversation is not about talking. It's about creating emotional space. When a woman feels safe enough to express herself, something powerful happens. She begins to reveal her real personality, her humor, her dreams, her weird stories, her real opinions. And suddenly, the conversation becomes effortless. But when a man tries too hard, controls the conversation, or tries to impress, she closes that door. And here is the deeper truth that many men find uncomfortable. Women are constantly testing the emotional awareness of a man, not with tricks, but with subtle signals. How he reacts when there is silence, how he responds to her opinions, how he listens when she talks. Does he interrupt? Does he try to correct her? Or does he actually listen with curiosity? Because the rare man who truly listens is the one who stands out. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the man who listens becomes unforgettable. And once you understand this simple shift, conversations stop feeling like pressure. They start feeling like exploration. And that is where attraction begins. Because attraction doesn't grow from perfect words. It grows from authentic moments. Moments where two people feel comfortable enough to be real. And the moment you stop trying to impress, you become 10 times more interesting. But there is a deeper layer to this, something that changes the way women see you within seconds. And almost no man realizes he is either winning or losing a conversation before it even truly begins. Before a single word is spoken, a conversation has already started. Most men don't realize this. They think attraction begins when they say, hello. But women are reading signals long before that moment happens. Your posture, your energy, your calmness, or nervousness. These silent details speak louder than any clever line ever could. A man who walks into a conversation needing approval gives off a subtle pressure. It's not obvious, but women feel it instantly. It's the feeling that he is trying to get something from the interaction. Validation, attention, attraction. And when that energy is present, the conversation becomes heavy. But when a man enters a conversation simply enjoying the moment, something very different happens. He is not chasing approval. He is sharing an experience. That shift changes everything, because confidence in conversation isn't about being loud, funny, or dominant. Real confidence is emotional stability. It's being comfortable with silence, comfortable with disagreement, comfortable with not trying to impress anyone. And ironically, that is exactly what makes a man attractive in conversation. Think about the most charismatic people you have ever met. They were not trying to prove themselves. They were simply comfortable being themselves, and that comfort spreads to the people around them. Women feel relaxed around that kind of energy. And when a woman feels relaxed, she opens up. But here's the truth most men never hear. The strongest conversational move a man can make is slowing down. Most men rush conversations. They fill every silence. They jump from topic to topic. They panic when there is a pause. But pauses are powerful. Silence is not awkward when you are calm. Silence is tension. It creates curiosity. It gives emotions room to grow. And when you slow down, you begin to notice something incredible. The conversation becomes deeper. Instead of asking surface-level questions like, "What do you do?" Where are you from? How was your day? You begin asking questions that open emotional doors. What's something you've always wanted to try but never did? What kind of moments make you feel truly alive? What's a memory that always makes you smile? These questions don't just create conversation, they create connection. Because people rarely get the chance to talk about things that actually matter to them. And when a woman feels that you are genuinely curious about her inner world, she remembers that. But there is another truth hidden beneath all of this. A subtle mistake that quietly destroys attraction in thousands of conversations every day. And once you recognize it, you will never make it again. There is one mistake that silently destroys attraction in conversations, and most men repeat it without even realizing it. They try too hard to be liked. At first, it sounds harmless. Of course you want someone to like you. But when a man is constantly trying to gain approval, something subtle changes in the dynamic of the conversation. He begins agreeing with everything she says. He laughs too quickly at every joke. He avoids expressing real opinions. He becomes overly careful with every word. And suddenly the conversation loses something powerful: authenticity. Because attraction doesn't grow from perfection. It grows from realness. Women don't connect with a man who is trying to be flawless. They connect with a man who is comfortable enough to show his real personality. Think about it this way. Imagine two men having a conversation with the same woman. The first man agrees with everything she says. She says she loves traveling. He says, "Me too." She says she likes a certain movie. He says, "That's my favorite." She shares an opinion. He immediately agrees. At first it sounds polite, but something feels off. It feels like he is mirroring her instead of being himself. Now imagine the second man. He listens carefully, he smiles, and when she shares an opinion, sometimes he agrees, and sometimes he playfully disagrees, not in an aggressive way, but in a confident, relaxed way. She says she loves horror movies. He laughs and says, "I'll be honest, I can't watch those at night. I'd be checking behind every door." Suddenly, the conversation has personality. It has contrast. It feels alive. Because the truth is, interesting conversations come from different perspectives, not identical ones. Women don't want to talk to a reflection of themselves. They want to talk to someone who brings new energy into the interaction. This doesn't mean arguing or trying to prove someone wrong. It simply means allowing your personality to exist in the conversation. Your humor, your opinions, your perspective on life. And something amazing happens when you do this. The conversation stops feeling like an interview. It starts feeling like a shared experience. Another powerful shift happens when you stop focusing on whether she likes you and start asking yourself a different question. Do you enjoy this conversation? Most men forget they also have a choice. They treat conversations like a test they must pass. But confident men approach conversations with curiosity. They are discovering whether the energy between them feels natural. And this mindset completely changes the tone of the interaction. Instead of pressure, there is playfulness. Instead of fear, there is curiosity. And when a woman senses that you are genuinely enjoying the moment rather than chasing approval, she relaxes, because now the conversation is balanced. Two people exploring each other's personalities, not one person trying to impress the other. But there is another level to this art of conversation, a level that separates ordinary conversations from the ones that create real emotional attraction. And it has nothing to do with what most people think. The most powerful conversations are not the ones filled with clever words. They are the ones filled with emotion. Most people spend their entire lives having surface-level conversations. What do you do? Where are you from? How was your weekend? These questions keep conversations polite, but they rarely create connection. Connection happens when people begin sharing experiences and feelings, not just facts. For example, instead of asking someone what they do for work, ask something slightly deeper. What made you choose that path? Now the conversation becomes a story. Instead of asking where someone traveled, ask, what place has left the biggest impact on you? Now you are inviting emotion, because people love talking about moments that shaped them, moments that surprised them, moments that changed them, moments that made them feel alive. When a woman shares a meaningful story and you listen with real attention, something powerful happens. She feels understood. And being understood is one of the strongest emotional experiences human beings crave. But here's something even more interesting. The most attractive men in conversation are not the ones who constantly talk about themselves. They are the ones who know when to reveal pieces of their story. Small moments, honest moments, Not bragging, not performing, just sharing. Maybe a story about a challenge you faced, a dream you once chased, a moment that changed how you see life. These glimpses into your life create depth. They show that behind the calm confidence, there is a real human being. And realness is magnetic, because in a world full of filtered images, rehearsed conversations, and fake personalities, authenticity feels rare. When a conversation contains honesty, curiosity, humor, and emotional presence, it becomes something unforgettable. Time starts to move differently. Minutes feel like seconds. And when the conversation ends, both people feel like something meaningful just happened. Not because of perfect lines, but because of genuine connection. But there is one final truth about conversation that almost no one talks about. And once you understand it, you will realize that the most powerful thing you can ever bring into a conversation is not words. It's something much deeper. The greatest secret to mastering conversation with women is surprisingly simple. Presence. Not the kind of presence where you are physically there, but mentally, somewhere else. Real presence. The kind where you are fully focused on the moment. You notice the tone of her voice. You notice when she gets excited about a story. You notice when she laughs, pauses, or thinks deeply before answering. Most people rarely experience this level of attention in daily life. Everyone is distracted, phones buzzing, thoughts racing, people waiting for their turn to talk instead of actually listening. So when someone finally meets a person who is truly present, it feels powerful. It feels rare. And that is what makes conversations memorable. Presence creates a space where people feel safe being themselves. And when a woman feels that space, she naturally becomes more expressive, more playful, and more open. But here's something even deeper. When you stop worrying about saying the perfect thing, you begin saying the right things naturally. Your humor becomes natural. Your curiosity becomes genuine. Your reactions become honest. And suddenly conversations stop feeling like something you need to master. They become something you experience. You laugh more. You relax more. You enjoy the moment instead of analyzing every word. And ironically, that is when conversations become the most attractive. Because confidence is not about controlling every moment. Confidence is about trusting yourself inside the moment. So the next time you speak with a woman, remember this: you don't need the perfect line. You don't need a script. You don't need to impress anyone. Slow down, listen deeply, be curious about the person in front of you, let the conversation breathe. Because the men who create unforgettable conversations are not the ones who try the hardest. They are the ones who make the moment feel real. Now, I want to hear something from you. What is the biggest challenge you face when talking to women? Write your answer in the comments. Your experience might help someone else who is going through the same thing. If this message gave you a new perspective, take a second to like the video and subscribe for more honest conversations about relationships, confidence, and personal growth. And share this video with a friend who needs to hear this today.